चिन्तयन् अभ्यासयोगयुक्तेन चेतसा नान्यगामिना परमं पुरुषं दिव्यं याति पार्थानुचिन्तयन्। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य Hare Krishna. Thank you for the fourth and the final opportunity for at least completing our orientation for temple living. I would like to briefly summarize what we have been doing so far. In the first session, we had a discussion about the big picture of taking to monkhood. There are very important 4 dimensions. Anusthana, creating conducive learning, practicing environment. Adhyayana, dedicating to gaining mastery under a master in varieties of spiritual subject matters. Anusandhana, working on our strengths to maximize them and weaknesses to make them irrelevant. And fourth, Adhyapana, selflessly giving to other qualified persons what we have received. So this completes the cycle of learning. Just for your information, there are many things that happen to make you successfully practice these 4 principles in the background. I would just like to write those things down, and this may help you in your personal preaching work in future. So those steps are planning and preparation. Then comes delivery of your teaching learning experiences. This has many dimensions. One dimension is called education, another dimension is called guidance, what we call here as counseling, but guidance is a better phrase. Education is generic, given in groups, and also common subjects are touched during education. Guidance is specific, often very personalized, and generally may happen in small groups or one-on-one with the teacher. After this, there is going to be evaluation, follow-up, and placement in Krishna conscious and Varnashrama dharma services. And then to make all this happen, we need to do building of resources and culture, so that we continue the cycle of learning. So what you are currently experiencing is only this part in the big picture. But there is a lot that has been worked out in the background to come to the stage where effective teaching learning experiences can happen. And we should always feel happy and grateful for becoming part of such a self-development program that really builds our spiritual muscles. So education has got varieties of things. There is curriculum, then there is lesson plans, there are teaching learning methods, there is assessment, and so on. And we have to basically put all that into action. And guidance, one has to seek. It is difficult to pay attention to everyone individually in a classroom, and that's why we have created small group systems, either as counselor, counselee, or now we are going to form the caretaker system within the PDC, Keshwani Mahaprabhu and Swayam Prakash Prabhu. I always keep Swayam Bhagavan Prabhu. Swayam Bhagavan Prabhu was a teacher who taught me Yajna Mantras. So his name comes by default in my head. So this guidance is also crucial because the passive learning may not help. We have to have active, what applies to me kind of guidance from that. And this is what we are experiencing right now. Eventually there should be an evaluation, how the student is doing about what he has received. There must be follow-up to bridge the gap in learning, in practice, in attitudes. And there must be placement. Each of us being put into a particular department, service, and of course, spiritual nourishment programs further. So all that comes here. And to do all this, we need, of course, resources and a proper culture. Culture building just continues ongoing for the teachers. So this is what we are exactly doing with all of you, in case you want to know the background undercurrent. So now this was the first session. Then the second session we had a discussion about, is ISKCON a family or an institution? Many people in modern times, they don't like to practice institutionalized religion. They hate it. They say it's between me and God and maybe some few people that I love around, that we will figure it out, how to become spiritually advanced. But just don't put us into some kind of norms, policies and protocols and all that. We may not like such kind of tight compartmentalizing of our spiritual experiences. Let it free flow. So there are one kind of people like that. But then, in especially Kali Yuga, we know that if we leave it to the individuals to figure out what is spiritual life, then usually they get degraded. This, what started as a, what we call Ekanta Bhajan, eventually lands up becoming Ekanta Bhojan or whatever else, sense gratification program sooner or later for most of the people. And therefore, Sangha Shakti Kalau Yuge, the strength lies in togetherness. Together we are better. Say that again. Together we are better. And therefore, in spiritual organizations, the emphasis is given on maintaining the family spirit internally and a missionary spirit, giving in a proper organized manner the practice of spiritual culture to everyone in the external spirit. And this balance is what we have to strike individually in our life if we are to be happy when we join a religious movement or a spiritual institution. Otherwise, we may find that our experiences may actually either put us off or kick us out. We may not achieve or accomplish what we originally came for because of wrong expectations. So we saw that family means a certain type of experience and institution means another type of, arrangement or experience, and both are needed. They should not be seen as adversaries, they should be seen as complementary to each other. So we have the facility of small scale family through counselor groups and the large scale ISKCON institution for really maximizing our clout, our impact in the community services that we want to offer to the world around. And we give that example. If I take a single bullet in hand and tell somebody, hands up, I'll kill you. I'll say, no problem, hit the bullet. But the same bullet, if I put inside a revolver and then say, so hands up, then what happens? That has got more power. Similarly, we alone go and practice spiritual life. So we have that experience. Sometimes we try to tell somebody, chant Hare Krishna, become Krishna's devotee. They say, aage jao. Go ahead. They don't take us very seriously. But when we go as a representative of ISKCON movement, just recently I had gone to this Westin hotel and some people from Israel, they had come. They are all CEOs of Amdocs company, big people. They had given me 7 minutes. And the intention of those 7 minutes was there was going to be a balloon releasing ceremony. On the balloons they had written some of their ambitions or desires, and they wanted to make it a very, very spiritual experience for everyone, that balloon releasing. So just for 7 minutes I went. There are about 57 of them, and we had this exercise of what is spirituality, why practice spirituality, how to practice spirituality. And then we said Om Tat Sat and we released the balloons. I offer this unto the Supreme. So everybody was excited. They liked it. And the organizer was very skeptical. They were telling me, oh, don't make it very spiritual. There's no religious experience. People will not like it, this, that. But actually, when we gave a proper explanation of what we are doing and how we should do it, everybody liked it. In fact, one of the ladies, she came and said, Monk, you made my day. I said, wow, thank you. A few of them took my email address and things like that. And they had nothing to do with Vedic culture. Absolutely no connection. So, why did they invite us? ISKCON. The name. We have some weight in the society. They know it. If I were alone and I were to go and make a presentation, nobody will even ask. So this is why we need both. We need the family internally, and we also need the institution so that we remain strong and contributive. So that was the second session we had. So we may have our situation of heart on one or the other side. We are little 70% family, 30% institutionalized people. We like that arrangement. There may be other people who like 30% family and 70% institution arrangement. And this is our swabhava. It's not very easy to change it. Even after becoming a Hare Krishna for many years, internally we remain with our swabhava. Swabhavo duratikramaha. And that's why Krishna says, Joshayet sarva karmani vidvan yukta samacharan. Engage that swabhava in service of God. Don't suppress it. So we have to go from tamoguna, rajoguna, sattva-guna to shuddha sattva. From dysfunctional level to average functional to full functional to transcendental level of using our swabhava instead of trying to change it all the time. And we have to collaborate with others who can compensate for our inabilities. We are better together. So who are we? Family or institution? Society. We are a society. That we introduced another term. Society means where there is practice of spiritual culture individually, internally, and varnashrama dharma externally. So that we cooperate and make productive our efforts. That is called society. So ISKCON, International Society for Krishna Consciousness, has currently the 3 components. It's international, it's for Krishna, and is having consciousness of Krishna. What is missing is the missing S in ISKCON, the society. We are yet to become a proper society. And that we cannot become suddenly worldwide unless we become here, in our small ashram, where we are staying. So that was the second session. So don't feel frustrated when your particular needs of wanting to be non-institutional, family-oriented are not fulfilled. And also sometimes your particular needs of wanting to be institutional, proper in dealings with others, rather than becoming too soft with them, even despite their inabilities. Don't get phased out. Handle that situation properly by expressing your needs and concerns, by hearing others' needs and concerns, and finding out how to go ahead as a golden mean with the help of some superiors. Third session, we had discussion on communication has a role in community building. What I talk to you, what I talk about you, and what I talk about others with you has a direct impact on our relationship and our relationship with everyone else around. So today also we had a beautiful Bhagavatam. Prabhuji was highlighting this point very nicely, that despite our ego, despite our envy, despite our ignorance, despite our material attachments, we should still continue to act and speak properly when we live in a community. We should bind people together by words and actions that we have and not break them apart. We should constantly work on team building and empowerment of each other. So how many of you heard me speak this 5 grains story in the past? I keep speaking it every now and then. There was one big zamindar in West Bengal, Medinipur, who had 500-acre land, all fertile on the bank of Ganga. And he had 4 sons who were very accomplished in their own work. And they had their 4 wives, one each. So when this old man, zamindar, he was a dharmic, religious person, he was about to retire from his family life, he decided to hand over the charge of his property, the external affairs, land cultivation, etc., to the sons, and the internal affairs, how to manage the palatial house that he had, huge mahal, and how to take care of all the internal activities, to his daughter-in-laws. So on one Akshaya Tritiya day, he thought of an idea. He called all those 4 ladies and he gave them 5 grains of wheat in hand. And he told them, preserve this carefully. After 5 years, I will take it back from you. So they all looked at the grains. They looked at him, said, anything else? He said, no, now you may go. So they offered pranam, obeisances, and they went. So as they were going back, every one of them was thinking based on their mentality. First lady, she thought, Buddha shayad sathiya gaya hai. This old man has become senile. As the old age has come, his 5 grains to be preserved for 5 years. There are godowns filled here with grains. What is this preservation? She threw it in the air. And when he asks, I will get from the godown any 5 grains and give him. Who understands that they are not the original grains? So she went ahead. The second lady, she also thought similarly, that this old man is not in good shape of, rationality. So she was also about to throw it, but she thought, why to waste? So she ate them. And she went ahead. Then the third lady, she thought for a while in front of all the family members on an important day like Akshaya Tritiya. This Sasurji has invited and given this task. I think we should not take any panga. We should not get into trouble. So she put that into a cloth bag, hid it behind the altar in the home. After 5 years, when he asks, give it as it is. And the fourth lady, she asked an interesting question to herself. What if I do with this 5 grains? Will it bring a smile on the face of my father-in-law? How can I make him happy? She immediately got an idea. You know what she did? She put them into the ground, cultivated some crop, more yield came. She put that into the ground, she got more crop, and she went on doing this for 5 years. At the end of 5 years, she had almost 5 cartloads of grains from the original 5 that she had got. 5 बैलगाड़ी भरेगा. So 5 years passed, and the old man who wanted to retire now and then hand over the charge of the property and matters, he called everybody again on Akshaya Tritiya day. So, where are my 5 grains? So all of them, biting their tongue under their teeth, they ran in 4 directions. And the first 2 ladies, they got from the godown some grains and they gave in hand. So he looked at those grains, he looked at them and said, "These are not the 5 grains that I gave you. Tell me the truth." They were caught, So the first lady said, "Well, I threw it and she ate it." He said, "All right, no problem, stay here." Third lady, she brought those original ones as it is, gave them. He said, "Well done." What did you do? She told that I hid it behind the altar. Fourth lady, she said, "I need 5 bullock carts." 5 grains, 5 bullock carts. He said, "Not the original ones, but the yield that I have got out of them." So when she was given the 5 bullock carts and they entered in the campus of his palatial building through the compound gates, he is a zamindar. He likes to see bounty. Grains everywhere. He was so happy. He was giving a ear-to-ear smile. Sometimes called as South Pole, North Pole smile. Big smile. And after having seen the caliber through this test, he did Kaam Ka Batwara, work division. He said this first lady, what she had done? Threw it in the air. She should become the maintenance in charge of this house, who does all kinds of menial services. Jhadu, pocha, bartan manjna, all that kind of stuff. She will have to take care of it. Second lady, what she had done? So generally those who are good at eating are also good at cooking. So he said she will become the kitchen head. She has to cook for all the 30-40 people in the family, including all the sons, daughter-in-laws, their kids. There are servants in the home, everybody. You have to cook for and feed them well. She was given the charge of kitchen. Third lady, what she had done? Preserved. So he said she will become the chief accountant. Everyone has to submit all the earnings to her and give proper accounts for all the expenses that they make, and she will maintain the financial controls. Why? Because she was good at preserving things as they are. And then fourth lady, he took out all the key bunch from his pocket of all his property inside the home, gave it in her hand, and he said, "You will become the servant leader of this home, and you will have 3 duties. Keep everyone happy by fulfilling their needs and values. Keep everyone bonded in love with each other. There should be sounds of love and spirit of service in this home, no quarrel. Even if there is quarrel, it has to be for a service. No ego clashes. And third, keep everybody meaningfully engaged. There should be no freeloaders. Phukat Chambu Babu Rao. In Marathi they have a term like that. There should be no fuktya. Freeloaders here. Everybody has to have some solid work to do in service of everyone else. So what are the 3 job descriptions of a good servant leader? Keep everyone happy, bonded, engaged meaningfully. So everybody got their jobs, and in fact these ladies by that time, they had such a realization in their heart about the caliber of their father-in-law and what kind of spiritual insights he has to conduct a test like that. They became very cautious and also respectful. They decided to cooperate with each other, not envy each other for the kind of services they got. And that entire family flourished because of their mutual cooperation. Everybody did what they were supposed to do very nicely. And then the old man with his wife from Medinipur, he retired to Mayapur, the international headquarters of ISKCON. And he and his wife, they stayed there for many years. The wife rendered service as a garland making for the deities and festival arrangements. And he became one of the administrators in the temple, and he did all kinds of services for managing the temple, getting finances arranged, everything. And they both chanted Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, very nicely throughout their remaining part of life. And in this way they led a very happy Krishna conscious Vanaprastha life, retired life. And then from Vaikuntha Airlines one day came one airplane and took this zamindar aboard. In that there were Jai Vijay or whoever, Nanda Sunanda. So they were all welcoming him, and he went back home, back to Godhead, having fulfilled his mission of human life. Rivo! I hope you like the story. So what is the conclusion of this story? What do you understand from this story in our lives? Yes. Can someone rub this off?
We will be engaged, or we will be given the responsibilities according to what is our insight, like how we, like all these four ladies, how they responded to the task given.
Okay, so our superiors gauge our spiritual advancement, our material swabhava, and accordingly engage us in service. Task talent matching. Swabhava, don't, task talent is a very corporate term. You write swabhava, vritti, karma, alignment. Swabhava means internal combination of three modes that we have. Vritti means our inclinations, tendencies to do a particular type of a work. And karma means occupation. Swabhava, vritti, karma, alignment. So this is one important lesson from this story. Very good. Thank you. Yes.
No one is a waste.
Okay, no one is a waste. Ayogyaha purushaha nasti. No one in this world is not good for anything. Everybody is fit for something. We have to find out what they are fit for. Ayogyaha purushaha nasti.
After acknowledging their natures, they engage in the services and fully cooperated with us.
Okay, we should learn to acknowledge the nature of others and to utilize it in good service. I think it's similar to that Swabhava Vritti Karma alignment. Oh, you already said something. Just wait a minute. Someone else who has not yet spoken. What did you understand from this story? Are these 7-8 guys who sit in the ahead front seats, they are the only ones who think? Or they are the only ones who get the chance of the mic? How it is? Please, everyone, across the board, please speak out.
Our superiors will become free from...
Can you increase volume? I am not able to hear.
If we are like the fourth daughter, then our superiors are free from anxiety and they can focus on their spiritual life happily.
Okay, the fourth daughter was the best according to you.
Yeah.
And we should become like that daughter. daughter-in-law.
Dream for that. Dream for that. At least.
Okay, we should aspire to become the fourth kind. What was the speciality of the fourth kind? Yes? Okay, she had the caliber of managing everything nicely. That's what he's saying. Yes? She had only one good qualification. She wanted to please the father-in-law. She wanted to see a smile on his face. That was the perfection according to her. E plus, exceeding expectations. So she wanted to serve E plus, exceeding expectations. So that was her good qualification. Serve exceeding expectations to please. Ultimately, we want the happiness of the other person, not just expertise of our service. दुर्योधन का भोग न खायो, रूख शाकवे दुर्घर खायो, ऐसे प्रेम पुजारी राधे श्याम श्याम श्याम. So expertise is one part. What is the attitude? That is another part. Okay, anyone else?
When everyone is engaged in certain type of service according to his then they remain peaceful and they can progress in their spiritual life.
स्वे स्वे कर्मणि अभिरतः संसिद्धिं लभते नरः. By engaging according to one's occupational tendencies in particular work, one can attain even perfection of life. Remain happy. Yes, behind.
Having respect for the seniors and thinking how we can take or shoulder the burden there, whatever they have.
Respect the superiors, don't consider them fools. They have at least seen 20-30 rainy seasons more than you. So give some weightage that these guys are not fools. I am not the only smart one around here. And what? And shoulder their burden. Think of how can I shoulder their burden. They are working so hard for the benefit of others. How can I come in the mood of a reliever of burden? So don't burden their shoulder, shoulder their burden. Yes. We should
try to learn the mood of authority, superiors or spiritual master. What is their mood?
Okay, we should try to find out or align ourselves with the mood and mission of our superiors. What do they carry in their heart?
Whenever our superiors they give tasks and according to our sabha, they engage us. They will whatever our sabha, they engage us. But our side, we should try to do best. Like fourth one, she tried to make please that superior, but superior doesn't. They engages us according to our talents.
Okay. Thank you. 2 last chances and then we go ahead because we have further things to say. Yes, at the back.
First, you although they were here, the way of conducting the task was not good, but they had sufficient humility that even though they were given very menial tasks, they did not reject it or say, I don't deserve, I deserve better. They humbly accepted it and they happily served and they maintained their respect.
When we acknowledge our weakness and become humbled or cultivate humility, we still benefit. We benefit ourselves and we benefit others. Yes.
We may not have sufficient spiritual insight of ourselves. So when our superiors, they see some inclination in us and engage us in that particular direction, we should be self-satisfied that what they are engaging us, having more spiritual advancement than us, we should be satisfied in that service and raise our concern if required.
Yes. We should remain satisfied with the service that we get and do it as diligently as possible. Thank you. I'll pause there. I know you have lots to share and I am eager to hear. Maybe after the class I'll meet you and you can come and tell me personally what is the one very different and deep insight that you have than all that we have discussed so far. So when I studied this story for the first time, I had my conclusion about it, which I would share before we end. Thank you. We have these 5 grains gifted to us by God at the time of our birth. These 5 gifts are our body, mind, intellect, the mechanism with which we are functioning in this world. The second gift Krishna has given us is our spiritual relationship with Him. How well do we conduct ourselves in relationship to God and other living beings? So we have spiritual relationships. Third gift God has given us are various resources, material resources, laptops, gadgets, food, clothing, shelter, all kinds of resources in our life. Fourth gift God has given us is a family of spiritualists. So we have our blood relatives like father and mother, and we also have our Vaishnava relatives, those who are devotees of God. So we have been gifted beautiful relationships with people around us. What are we doing with that? And finally, God has given us our occupational engagement, or what we call it as service. For a person who is not a monk, this and this are different. He works in a job so that he can do what he really likes to do in service of others. Sometimes there are two different things like that going on. So somebody is a software engineer, makes money, then he comes to the temple or in some voluntary organization and he gives service with the talents that he actually has. This is artificial dissension created in the modern times in occupation. In Vedic culture it was the same. Your varna was the same as your swabhava. So these 5 grains are given at the time of our birth and they are taken back at the time of our death. And there is an assessment, evaluation of what we have done with these 5 grains. And it seems that there are 4 responses people give in their lives to these 5 gifts that they have got. Can you rub that off, the upper one? The first response is called Tamoguna response. Throw it in the air. What do you do with all the 5? Don't use it for doing any good to yourself. Don't use it for doing any good to anybody else. Just while it away. So that is called the first response. That is mode of ignorance. Tamoguna. Have you seen people like that in your own life? In your life, your relatives, friends? There are people like this. They have got wonderful gifts, but they just don't do anything. The second kind of people are called mode of passion, Rajoguna. What do? Use these 5 things for instant gratification. Eat it while it is there. So, immediate, make money, have a party, smoke, booze, have illicit sex. That kind of a quick pleasure life is what their goal of life is. They have all these gifts. but they only use them to have quick pleasures for themselves, no good for other. Then the third category are mode of goodness people. Sattva gun. What do they do? Preserve. It is not mine. It has been given to me by somebody. I should not spoil it. Let's be good. You be good, I be good, let's do good. They are called goody people of this world. But don't bring God into picture. That's their message. I do good, you do good, but don't bring God into picture. So they want goodness without God. We call them as honesty amongst thieves. You heard this analogy? The thieves put a robbery on a bank and they loot the money, go in the jungle to distribute it very nicely amongst each other. And if you happen to sit on the tree, banyan tree, under which they are doing the legitimate division of labor, booty. So they are talking to each other. देखो भाई, मेहनत सबने की है, बंटवारा बराबर होना चाहिए, चोरों के भी कुछ उसूल होते हैं. So, what are the thieves saying? We all have worked hard. Let's have equal rights. Equal rights. Why? Because there are also some ethical principles amongst thieves. So all this business ethics, corporate ethics, international ethics, political ethics is nothing but honesty amongst thieves. They have stolen it all from God, and now they are talking about you be good, I be good, let's do good. But don't bring God into picture. So these are typical people. You'll find them everywhere in this world. But they do one good thing, that they preserve this. They don't spoil it. Sometimes there are atheists who are like that. Good. Moral atheists. Then comes the fourth category people. They are called Shuddha Sattva. They are actually Krishna conscious. They have an interesting response they give to all these gifts that they have in their life. So, what is their response? How can I utilize these things in a manner that will bring a smile on the face of the Lord? So they use them to do good to themselves, and they also multiply these things to do good to many others. So, Srila Prabhupada was one such person, And all this, Yudhishthir, Arjuna, all the great sages, saints, devotees that we have seen throughout the history, they have worked on the basis of this principle. Use it, don't spoil it, be dutiful, be detached, be devotional in your approach. So accordingly, they are given various types of births in next life by God. Because at the time of death there is assessment, and accordingly you get body of lower species, lower animals, beasts, amphibians, reptiles, fishes, whatever. So those who misuse these things in this life, where do they go in next life? They get a lower birth. Those who get only into instant quick gratifications, pleasure, what birth do they get? Of course, if they do it at least within what we call rules, they may get passionate human body in next life. They may be reborn as human beings, or maybe even lower if they did some mischief based on this. And then those who are in this category, where do they go? They may even get the body of devatas, demigods, who control varieties of material resources in the universe. And other criminals are told to be accountable to them. And those who practice this, where do they go? They either go back to spiritual world, or Krishna likes to hand over the charge of the material world to such devotees. He wants Yudhishthir to rule. He wants Lord Brahma to rule. He wants others. So even they may have some deficiency sometimes, but because their main attitude is to please and to be benevolent towards others, they are actually given a very high promotion. And such personalities are badly required. Narayana para sarve na kutaschana bibhyati swargapavarga narakeshu apitulyartha darshinaha. For them it doesn't matter whether they are in heaven or hell, but they want to only render their service pakka. So that is their mood in life. So in this way, this story is an interesting one to acknowledge what we have received and what are we to do with it. Now, having said that, I would actually go, so that was our third topic in a sense. What was the third title? Community. How do you build a community? So keep everybody happy, bonded, engaged. So that's the mood while we are in the community. Ensure that. Now today I would like to speak about the fourth topic, and that is how to deal with ourselves. First we saw how to deal with the ashram that we have joined, then how to deal with ISKCON, then how to deal with people around, and now how to deal with ourselves. They say, na, ab tera kya hoga re kaliya? In the sense that, what are you headed for now? With all this background. So, let's begin. Can you rub this off? So, what should we do with our body and mind? Keep it fit and fine. What is the purpose? To ultimately develop spiritual relationships, sadhana. We all need resources, so we have to keep them MSC, minimum simple and clean, so that we are functional, agile to serve. We have to keep family relationship. This is called Varna and Ashrama. So we have to keep that in a proper healthy state. Our relationship with the fellow beings and our proper engagement in the community. So when we look after all this five very nicely, we actually experience true joy of life. Such a person becomes Atma Rama over the period of time. So we have material duties and we have spiritual duties, and we have to do them very balanced way, properly. Okay, so now in the time that we have, I would like you to draw a circle as big as you can on the page that you have, something like this. And then divide that circle into 8 zones. Okay. On this circle, we are going to write 8 major components of our life. Self-care. Self-care means diet, sleep, exercise, health, hygiene. How well are we doing in these dimensions? Okay. On another extreme, we are going to write sadhana. Sadhana, spiritual practices. How attentive, prayerful are we in our approach to God? Then we are going to write our seva, and seva is usually of 2 types. Given service, or we can call it as prescribed duty, and seva, which is ad hoc, unplanned, it comes in our life. and seva that is related to our core genius, something that we like to do. Which means when there is free time, what do we tend to do? Somebody takes a harmonium, goes sits in a corner. Another person will get into kitchen or something. That's an innate nature that they have. So seva, and then we can write our relationships. What is the quality of our relationships with our seniors, equals, and our juniors? Then you may write learning and growth. Are you experiencing that in your life? There is something you are learning and you are growing as a person. And you may also write alone time. This alone time is not for getting into Maya. Alone time is the time you need for personal reflection, contemplation, becoming stronger through. So all the time if we are with people doing things, sometimes we don't get to connect with ourselves better and think through. What exactly am I doing? Why am I doing it? What's next to be done? So there is no such a thing. So you can write that as a reflection time, or some journal writing time, or gratitude time, or whatever you want to call it as. So reflection time. Then on this side you may write you are getting mentored or coached. How well are you getting coached? You understand coaching? Somebody is coaching you in spiritual life, mentoring, counseling, guidance. How well are you receiving it? So that's another dimension that we can look at. And the last 8th item, I'm thinking 100 times before I say that item there. So should I say? It's called wasting time. We all need a little time to waste. If we can call that in a different language, a time to be. You get what I'm saying? That time is not under anybody's control. It's just in our jurisdiction. And we can decide at that moment what we feel like doing and just do it. Now sometimes somebody may kick me out of a spiritual organization for saying such a thing, that you can have a time to be. What do you want to be? So I don't want to be anything, I just want to be. So what do you mean you want to be? What is the difference between this and this? You're still productive, you are doing something here. This is this is called, we are not on high tension wire. It could be even sometimes just 2 hours just sleep. or it could be as nothing sinful, nothing bad, nothing like, you'll watch something, dubious on internet or something. This is not what we mean by this. But it's a time where sometimes we need to be off the grid and then decide at the moment, what do I feel like? I think I feel like today just playing loud kirtans of Indra Prabhu in one room and dance myself. Which is not necessarily fitting anywhere. Or it can mean that today I would like to just go and do some gardening or be with the cows. Of course we don't have a cow Goshala yet, but I think it's an interesting time. It's cows, they really kind of, when you spend time with them, you start becoming more thoughtful and reflective about yourself and life. They give tremendous sattva guna to other person. So, these kind of times we are talking about. We are not talking about doing something dubious and sinful or anything. But I thought about it a while before I wrote it there. Should I tell that or not? I hope Keshav Nimapuru will give me chances to speak in future in the classes, knowing that I teach such things also. So, all of us have a wheel of life. The title of this is A Wheel of Life. You may also call this alone time as planning and preparation time. And this time as rest and recreation time. Recreation, we exhaust our mental, physical, spiritual potencies in doing work. And we need to give time to replenish that lost energies. So that is called recreation. Recreation doesn't mean you go and watch TV for 8 hours. That is not recreation. I hope now it is more clear. Planning and preparation, rest and recreation. Okay? So now imagine that the center of this is having marks 0. And the extreme end has got marks 10. Everywhere. 10, 10, 10, 10, like that. And first now you just first give marks out of 10 at the moment, right now, today, on this day, for last a week time that you may be remembering about. What do you think is your level of self-care? How well are you taking care of yourself? So say you give marks 7 out of 10. I'm just giving an example. Then how well did you get mentored and coached? Are you feeling properly guided, on track, in sync with your guides? How much do you feel like that? So let's say you are feeling 4 out of 10 at the moment. Then go to relationships. Okay, write down 2 seniors, 2 equals, and maybe 5 juniors that you are in touch with on a regular basis. Your intimate associates. Antaranga Parshad. Only them, not everybody. Okay, we are not too many people to deal with. Generally, there are 5 to 7 people in our life, and the entire quality of our happiness or distress in life is based on our interaction with these 5-7 people only. So we have to first kind of nail it down. Okay, these are those people. So clearly have that idea. Who are they? And let's say what's your quality of relationship. So you may want to, because here you can't give, it's per person, right? You cannot average it out. With somebody it is 2 out of 10 and 10 out of 10. So you don't know. So you decide how you want to put it. I will not micromanage your life. Then go here, planning and preparation time. So let's say you have book distribution seva, you have some kirtan seva. So are you spending some time preparing yourself for it? Or you just get into action every day? So then talk about your sadhana, which is the base of everything. How well is your morning program, japa, deity worship, study, all that. And then Rest and recreation. How well are you doing that in your life? Services. Again, there could be multiple services here, and you may have to gauge it individually. And then learning and growth. This is more of self-learning and growth. You have to take charge of your own life. Whether others take care of you or not, you have to take care of yourself in Krishna consciousness. And go ahead. You cannot keep saying, well, I joined ISKCON and they didn't take care of me properly, so I left it. I went and did something else. Whose problem it is to advance in spiritual life? Our counselor's problem. Huh? Our spiritual master's problem. What do you say? Are you sure it's your problem? You know, in the villages, you have seen there are those ladies who walk with those pots on their head. Sometimes there are 12 gagris, you know, one on top of each other. And that lady is walking, and you wonder, my God, any point of time anything will, you know. But she is so expert. She will go fill the water, put everything one on top of each other and stand up after that and start walking. And then she will go into some bazaar, you know, and purchase some sabji, tarkari, you know, do bargaining also. Give 2-3 galis in between, you know. And then she has a child on one side, you know, is crying, you know, all nose coming out, you know, with substances. And she, you know, give him a slap, you know, sometimes pamper him, you know, give him affection, whatever it takes, you know, and then walk ahead. And some friend, she, you know, she meets her friend and start talking there only, you know, all kinds of jalpa, you know. And all that she is doing without not a drop spilling out of those pots that she has on her head. You have seen Rajasthan or other places, ladies like that. Hats off to them. So our spiritual life is something like that. We have these gagaris on our head, each of them, and you know, and we are going through daily motions, you know, sitting in the class now, and then prasadam serving, then something else, then something else. But we never lose track of what's happening with each item. Where is it going? And we don't spill over. We are perfect in the way we deal with all of them. So is this clear? So just give quickly marks to yourself. Just 2 minutes, quickly write whatever comes to your mind. If you have given the marks, then you plot the points. Which means, here, let's say this is 7 out of 10, so that's here. Oh, this is 0, this is 10, so this is 7. Let's say this was 6 out of 10, then that's here. And this was 4 out of 10, then that's here. You are getting 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, like that. So you plot the points on each of those lines. Go ahead. First, just plot the points wherever you feel they are. After plotting these points, you join them with a freehand curve. The curve has to go through each of those points, but has to also appear a little logically flowing. Not, you can't join this point to this point like this. That's not what we are. Freehand curve means you join like this, then this, then this, then this. Making sense? So this is a graphical representation of your balanced life. How well balanced you are in your life, you can see from the picture. Are you going okay? You're all engineers, so you know all this stuff very well. So draw this. Draw this. Now, in the time that we have, we are going to go a very fast exercise. This exercise will go for only 4 minutes. So you have to pay attention to what I'm saying. You have to stand up in your own place after the announcements and immediately go and meet a devotee that you don't know much in this room. Take his chart in hand, give your chart to him, and first figure out which components of his life he has given high marks for himself, to which you have given low marks to yourself. Say some devotee is excellent in seva and he has given high marks here, but you had given some 2 out of 10. Then what happens? About that one item you have to ask him, Prabhuji, what do you do to maintain your seva at such a high standard? Give me one tip. And then let's say he was very poor in his score with say planning preparation time, and you are very high on it. So then you give him one tip, one best tip. What do you do that works for you for being good at planning and preparation? So you may say, well, every day I spend just 5 minutes in the morning before I get into the whole day to write down what I want to do. And because of that, many things happen very nice. Whatever is your tip. I'm just giving an example. Are you okay? So basically you have to show the devotee what your score is, see his score and figure out where he is high, take advice. Where you are high and he is low, give advice. Is that okay? Is that okay? Condition is you have to catch a devotee that you don't know much in this room. So don't go to familiar faces. No, those are our typical friends. So this exercise I'm going to give half minute per advice, which means in 1 minute you have to change into another pair. You have to go to second person. In half minute, just quick advice, move to the next. Means second advice, and then 1 minute later you move into the next pair. You have to find another partner. Clear? Who is not yet clear? You are not clear. Yes, 30 seconds you give advice, 30 seconds you receive advice, next moment you change the pair. 30 seconds, give, take, change. Fast. So first, wait, my instructions are not at all. First think of high marks that you have given and think of one good advice that you can give so that you don't waste time thinking at that time. Okay, one good advice. So wherever you give like 7, 8, that kind of marks, think what are you doing that is best working for you. Okay, so that becomes your one piece of advice. Is this exercise clear? Is your advice ready? Are you ready? So get up. And I'm going to bang this kartal, indicating one bang means advice change and 3 bangs means pair change. Okay? A speaks, B listens, bang. B speaks, A listens. Bang, bang, bang. A and B change. Okay? Hare Krishna. I know you have lots to share and receive. So, what was your experience? What does that mean? Anyone would like to share what they got? Some best tip, advice ever? Yes.
When Prabhuji given highest marks for seva, so his success is that he puts his 100% endeavor for rendering seva. So even that is new seva, he puts his best effort so that he could complete that seva very well.
Okay.
And he will get blessings from Krishna.
Wonderful. So give your 100% best when you are into service area. What else? Yeah, to offer ourselves with submission in the service, not in the mood of doer or go-getter, but I'm simply an instrument trying to do this well. What else?
So I asked for relationship development. So one devotee told that first it begins from service. When we serve other, then that initiates the relationship. And for maintaining relationships, we should neglect the small quarrels and small mistakes of others and like that.
One last chance. One would like to share some of the best advice you got.
Regarding alone time, along reflection time, the devotee gave me advice that you can have a diary, gratitude diary, or a diary in which you write your daily activities or whatever. So that helps in reflection a lot. It makes it systematic every day. You have to do it that way.
Thank you. So it seems that you have got many wonderful souls here who can compensate for your weaknesses and also help you build your strengths, provided you have a communication with them amongst each other. It's not that we are going to superiors to get advice. This is just peers that you are talking to, and you go and tell them this is what I need help with. They are actually capable of helping you satisfactorily. So I rushed this exercise and I'm sorry about it because of time limits, but actually this exercise is to be done like 5 minutes, 10 minutes per person. You sit with that devotee, you take them in hand, and you give advice, they give advice, and you actually write down what they are saying, as if Krishna is telling you through him that this is what you should do to make your spiritual life better. So actually sit down and write whatever advice you get. I got tremendous advice when I did this exercise during GBC college. The first advice I got was that pay attention and evaluate regularly these items. Let's say on Ekadashis, for example. Just take some time and evaluate what's going on with my life. And after evaluation, make 2-point action plan for each item. At least those items that you are weak at. So you actually make an action plan. Okay, I will do this from this to here by this. So that kind of. So currently, let's say my sadhana score is like 30% or 40%. So I want to make my sadhana score from 40% to 80% by the end of next 10 days. So that's the kind of action plan one should make. Another advice I got was that what works today might not work tomorrow. But nevertheless, start now. And repeat regularly whatever works for you. Don't be attached to the idea that this worked for me 10 years back, now it is not working. No need. Something else may work. And another thing I got was that there are many devotees who got to live after 30 years in Krishna consciousness, after 10 years of suffering that they got. And others say, oh, he was just like that only. He was like that. Many times they are not living because of other things, but because these things are not being satisfied properly. Why would somebody leave Krishna consciousness? We keep talking about it, Keval Ananda Kanda, this, that, to others. Usually we are responsible because we are not taking care of the major items that we have on our plate and not paying attention to the danger signs that are coming repeatedly to us. Sometimes there are danger signs coming, you are not having proper rest and recreation, body is giving trouble. Danger signs coming here in sadhana, you are very irregular in your sadhana. There are danger signs coming in relationships. So pay attention to danger signs and take charge of these items yourself. Whether anybody helps you with them or not, whose responsibility it is to take charge of them? Our own responsibility. So don't neglect for long. This could become fatal to you and your spiritual life, and sometimes even others in Krishna consciousness. And don't be always in an emergency mode. 24/7 by 365 days. There are small things that make a big difference. So take care of them. We say 20% things are 80% important. So those small things, what are they? For example, 16 good rounds every day, a japa walk, a 20-minute exercise, 30-minute at least reading Prabhupada books. Every week, at least one deity dressing or seva. And at least continue hearing during your bath, prasadam, travel, something or other. Simple things like that can go a long way in saving oneself in spiritual disasters that can come across. I also request you, when you eventually go on to become leaders, to facilitate people under your care with these proper nourishments. Train them to do the same and organize for them that they can do it even without your intervention by themselves. Train everybody. And last and not the least is the caution about internet usage or all this technology that we have around. Please know that it is not benign. It is designed for a particular purpose of spreading sense gratification network far and wide and make people forget God. Although it may have some utility in Krishna's service, we should know in the background the mentality with which it is designed is not a Krishna conscious mentality. As we know about the story of Mayadanav, Yantra Vidya. So, the internet, technology, gadgets, they prod, they affect, they contaminate us, whether we like it or not. And we have to deal with everything that comes along with it. Is it true? Is it good? Is it beneficial? Is it really required? So kindly make sure that you don't get into those zones whenever in future or now the service opportunities allow you to be in the vicinity of them. Don't drink poison willingly. Thank you very much. So we end there for this session. Sorry for going a little over time because of the exercise that we did. This you may change according to what you prefer to be in your life, the wheel. It's just my way of looking at things. You may have another way. But please do this exercise regularly to help yourself. Bachenge to aur bhi ladenge. You have heard that one? Sar salamat to pagdi 50. Or another one is Jaan bachi to lakho paaye. So there are many sayings like that. We have to survive in Krishna consciousness. Duniya jaye tel lene. Not in the sense that we don't want to care for them, but we are not going to allow, in the name of all the sacrifice and preaching and all that stuff, to let go of our Krishna consciousness. We should be always careful to stick on to these few basics, take charge of our own life, maintain strong Krishna consciousness, then go out and do whatever best we can for others. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.